Welcome everybody to PowerDrift and yet another video of yet another electric car. 2025 seems completely full of them. This is the BYD Sealion, and yes, it is the SUV cousin of the BYD Seal, both named after sea creatures. Actually, it's called the Sealion 7 and nobody really knows what that 7 is all about. But there is another badge here, 4.5S, and no, sadly, that's not the size of the V8 twin-turbo engine under the bonnet there, because like every other BYD in India, this one is electric too. That's actually how fast it goes from 0 to 100, and that's useful because when you do gap your friends in their German sports sedans, they can see how fast you actually went. Jokes and weird nomenclature aside, this is actually a pretty important car because globally, this took on the juggernaut. This is China's answer to the Tesla Model Y, and as we all know, the Model Y was the highest selling car in the world last year. I have a theory. This looks good in this very typical modern sense, like it's got headlamps that look like 80s manga robots, but they're in 4K. It's got the coupe swooping SUV body style, which is super popular. But overall, is it ever going to be as memorable as, say, a Hyundai Ioniq 5 in terms of design? It's not a bad looking car, by no means. It's just getting a bit common. However, there are always some details that I like and some I don't. The tail lamps I think look cool and will look extra cool at night. The small dual spoiler is a good little detail, but those wheel arches look out of place because they are unpainted, and the wheels might be large, which of course is a positive, but then they look like Audi wheels from like 10 years ago, and sorry, but that's just boring. Let's be completely honest though, if you are going to be dropping a pretty big bag on an EV SUV like this, you're probably not discussing BBS model names with your friends, but you're discussing golf handicaps and portfolio valuations, and you have your driver baba's name and number on speed dial, which means you are going to be opening these heavy doors quite a bit and spending quite a bit of time there.
I'm not one of these lame wannabes, I'm what you wanna see. At the mountaintop, my spot, so now you under me. Marathon, so I weigh you down, you can't run with me. Plus I reign over all like some dungarees.
Which is great because these seats are stupid comfortable. By the way, you also have a lot of space, like a lot. And it's easier to get in and out of because the floor isn't too high, even though there are batteries underneath it. And that means you can actually place your feet really comfortable below, and you have space to slide your legs underneath the front seats, which is more than what you get in most Indigo flights. By the way, you also get factory fitted tinted glasses. Now, I know some cops are gonna have a bit of an issue with this, but these are factory fitted, so maybe BYD has found a loophole to get away with this. Frankly, I'm not a big fan of the way this looks on the outside, half tinted and half untinted. I'm not a fan of that, but the fact that it doesn't get blinds, the tinted glasses do make up for that. That said, once in a while, you are going to want to put on your leather jacket from college and your New Balances and dye that white beard and white hair black because you feel like showing Mem Saab how it's done, which means you're going to be in that seat.
For the love, but no, I can tell when intentions are bad, you learn lessons for that. Look, the key to life isn't being right, it's doing all you can till you see the light.
As we mentioned earlier, the Samudri Share does 0 to 100 in just 4.5 seconds. That is seriously quick. To put into perspective, that is quicker than a 288 GTO. It's quicker than a Countach. It's even quicker than, and I hate to admit this, my big 5-liter V8 SL 500. But that brings you to two big issues. One, well, if you keep doing 0 to 100 sprints, that range of 567 kilometers is going to dwindle down very quickly. And two, and this is a bigger problem, that's frankly the only sporty thing about it. The Seal felt fast, felt sporty, felt like it had a purpose. Felt like if you would buy it over, say, an M340i, first your friends would make fun of you, but then they would drive it. And then you would redeem yourself when they realize you are not one to be messed with.
Do it for the love.
This feels quick, yes, but that inherent fizz that you get from a Mercedes GLC 43, from a X3 M40i, that's absent, and that wasn't absent in the Seal. Look, I know this is going to be much cheaper than those two SUVs that I mentioned, but that inherent benchmark that the Seal has set, that's missing.
You could never get the best of us, never, from the beginning to the finish line.
If a sports SUV is what they set out to make, frankly, they've not done it, because the Seal, although was electric and heavy, didn't feel like that. Didn't feel heavy. It was inherently very well set up to sort of mask that weight. This does not mask that weight. This feels almost disconnected at some points. Steering is not very connected. It's vague, it's slightly jiggly, and if you do a sudden change, lane change, which sadly we've done a few of them today, it just feels a little unsettled. Or was it supposed to be a whole different benchmark? Was it only supposed to be comfortable? And if that's the case, then why have that badge? Why talk about quickness? Once you ignore all that crust and get to the actual heart underneath, that's when you start getting a clear picture. Inherently, this is still stiff, but that stiffness isn't a bad sort of jerky stiffness. The stiffness isn't what we felt in, say, the Kia Ceros recently. This is inherently underneath very European-like in terms of the way it's set up, which means there is comfort at low speeds. And frankly, that's where this is going to be used, in the city. Nobody's going to take this to a track, nobody's going to corner hard, and nobody's going to talk about high-speed driving dynamics. And for that low-speed driving stuff, it's not bad. But by no means is this a sports SUV. Of course, it's not just about driving with all these new age EVs. And so this is when we talk about its quirks and features. Hi Doug, what's up? Okay, so couple of them. Of course, we've got to talk about the screen. It is massive, and of course it does turn, which I'm going to do right now. If you are like the hundreds and thousands and millions of people all around the world who use Apple CarPlay, it needs to be in normal landscape mode, which frankly is acceptable because that's what you expect screens to do. And then there's the quality. And I kid you not when I say this thing is probably one of the most well-made, quiet, rattle-less cars I have driven in a long time. Now, yes, it is brand new. I got the car at 30 kilometers on the clock and I'm now at 173. But this is literally beyond BMW levels of quality, and that is saying a lot. Then there are cup holders that make things rise, a phone charger has a lovely suede underneath and a cooling vent, and your panoramic roof is large enough to make the Dubai Mall Aquarium very jealous. Some of the gimmicks of this car are gonna irk the old boys club, but look, it just works, and the rest of the car works. I mean, this car is a testament to how far BYD has come as an automaker, and look, let's get this into everybody's head straight up. BYD is a good automaker, period. It's not a great automaker, but it's getting there, and it's getting there really, really quick. The biggest problem that I foresee though for this car in India is not going to be the fact that it's electric. It's not going to be the geopolitics. It's going to be the badge, because if this is priced at 60 lakh rupees or more, at that price, people want conventionalism. So this is going to have to work twice or thrice as hard as its rivals to get to where it wants to go. And if you know anything about the Chinese, we know they can pull such things off. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys in the comments below. Welcome to the unscripted section. We always do this at the end of a first drive. Just if we've sort of missed out on a couple of things, we talk about it in a bit of an informal way, like friends do, like car buddies do, right? So if you've never seen one of our videos and you're seeing this for the first time, yes, the main video is over, but this is like a behind the scenes sort of section, informal. We call it unscripted. Anyways, getting to it. First and foremost, straight up, I just want to say, I really like this car. I really like the way the overall package is. I mean, again, it's not a sporty SUV. It's not a Seal equivalent for the SUV segment, but as an SUV on its own, as a vehicle on its own, I really, really like it. It's so quiet, it's so comfortable at sort of low speeds. Even on highway when you're cruising, there's no like real uneasiness to it at all, unless you really turn hard, and that's because of the weight. The materials are what makes this car. Everything is just so well made here. Apart from this little scratchy plastic behind the steering wheel, everything else is just absolute top-notch quality. This piece, for example, this little panel that you see there, it's actually plastic, but it feels like the aluminum on a MacBook Pro, and it's in this guilloche dial finish. Google what guilloche dials are. They're one of my favorite types of watch dials. It's that, so it's premium. It just screams premiumness, although this is plastic, right? A couple of small weird things that I found. The cup holder in the middle, the one that rises and drops, that's not big enough. So if you want to say fit a bottle like this or a big McDonald's cup, I don't think that's going to fit there. And honestly, that rise and sort of drop thing, why is it needed? I don't really know. It's funny, it's a gimmick. Again, as I've said, it might work, it might not work. It's there. Deal with it. Apart from that, the one annoying thing is that there are just a lot of beeps and bings and dings and messages that keep popping up on the screen. We left at about 7:15 in the morning, and about 3 minutes into the drive, it said, fatigue detected, take a break now. Like, how can somebody who's just started driving your car be completely tired, unless somebody's drowsy and like dozing off? I wasn't. I was wide awake. We were talking and it just kept beeping. The ADAS works really well. I mean, the lane keep assist works well. We are driving the car around Jaipur, and as you know, sometimes in Rajasthan people ride and drive weirdly, and there are obstacles in the middle of the road. I'm not going to name what they are, but it sort of detects everything and it sort of warns you well there. The funny thing about the door handles, that's something I want to talk about because it did annoy me a little bit. When you sort of stepped out of the car, just buy something and the car's still on, the door handles retreat inside. So you have to press the button and get them back out again, and then the car sort of turns off and turns on again. It's just weird. Maybe that's something that needs to be looked at. Maybe if the person's not in the car and the car is on, just keep the door handles out, right? Apart from that, I genuinely don't have any complaints. Now, I know some of you are going to go ham and tong at this, saying, we've been paid off by China, we've been paid off by BYD, we should not support Chinese companies. But look, here at PowerDrift, and me in general, if a car is good, if a product is good, honestly, I do not care where it is made. Geopolitics are for people with an agenda. It's not for car people. We've always been people who've accepted various car cultures over the years, independent of what their political views are. Some people like Japanese cars, some people like Korean cars, some people like Indian cars, some people like British cars, some people like French cars, some people like German cars, some people even like American cars. But at the end of the day, geopolitics should not matter. If a product is good, a product is good. And this is good. Okay? That's about a wrap up from me. Unscripted section was a bit philosophical this time, but that's what I feel about the BYD Sealion 7. Although I think the 7 is a weird suffix to have and the Sealion is a funny name. There you go. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys in the comments, and please, for God's sake, don't be rude and obnoxious in the comment section. I do read every single comment, so I do judge some people sometimes. See you guys in the comments. Thank you for watching.